Hello students, welcome to the next lecture of subject Basics of Industrial Engineering. In our today's lecture, we will start a new chapter which is Industrial Legislations, prepared by Assistant Professor Sumit Singh Sigarwar, Mechanical Engineering Department, Sri Swaminarayan Institute of Technology, Bhat Gandhinagar. So these are two topics which we are going to cover in this chapter. First, we will see the introduction. We will understand the necessity of Industrial Act. We'll see the principles of industrial legislations. We'll learn about the Indian Factories Act 1948. We'll also learn the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. We'll see the Indian Trade Unions Act 1926. We'll see the Industrial Employment of Standing Orders Act 1946. We'll see the Payment of Wage Act 1936, Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. We'll also learn Payment of Bonus Act 1965, and finally we will finish this end of this chapter with Employees Provident Fund Scheme 1952. So in our chapter 3, that means in our legislation chapter, industrial legislation, these are the few topics which we are going to cover in number of lecture series. So let us begin with the introduction. Industrial legislation acts are the laws enacted by the government of India to provide the economic and social justice to the workers in the industries. These laws provide guidelines to the industrialists in dealing with the matters of wages, incentives, facilities, and other working conditions of the workers. Industrial legislation may be classified into two categories: A. General legislation, and B. Specific legislation. In general legislation, it looks after the general level problems like social welfare, insurance, and industrial disputes, while the specific legislation looks after the work of specific industries, transport mines, electricity, waste disposal, boilers, etc. What is the necessity of Industrial Act? So it provides a job security to workers. It minimizes the unfair treatments to workers. It reduces the conflicts with management. It creates healthy working environment for the work. It fixes the standard wages for the different kind of work. It specifies the working hours and the rest hours, etc. It protects the workers' interest. It provides the fair compensation to worker in case of accident. It also helps to protect the largest interest of society. Industrial acts improves the industrial relation and minimizes industrial disputes. It provides the fair compensation to workers who suffered from industrial accidents. So these are the necessities of industrial acts. Let us see the principles of industrial legislation. So industrial legislation is based upon the following principles. First is social justice. Second, social equality. Third one is national economy. And finally, international uniformity and solidarity. So these are the basic principles. फिर सोशल जस्टिस, सोशल इनक्वलिटी लाना, ठीक है, नेशनल इकोनॉमी को इंक्रीज करना, ठीक है, और इंटरनेशनल यूनिफॉर्मिटी, मतलब यहाँ से कोई अगर आईएलओ के सारे लॉ, इंटरनेशनल लेबर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के सारे जो रूल्स वगैरह हैं उनको फॉलो करके एक हेल्दी एनवायरनमेंट वर्कर को देना. Let us start with the Indian Factories Act 1940. So the Factories Act was passed by the Governor General of India on 23rd September 1948, and it came into force on 1st April 1949. The act was further amended in 1950, 51, 1954 and 1976, which came into force on 26th November 1976. This act is applicable to any factory in India that employs 10 or more than 10 workers. Now, what are the aims of this act? So, let us see. The main objective of the act is to provide the protection of to workers employed in factories against industrial hazards and to ensure safe and better working conditions. So, to ensure the safe and better working conditions, it is the main objective of this Industrial Indian Factories Act 1948. It also regulates and properly maintains the various safety, health, and welfare activities in the factories. It also regulates and properly maintains working hours and rest hours for workers, employment of children and adolescents, employment of women, and annual leave with wages, etc. So let us see some important definitions. So first definition is factory. So factory is a workplace under one management wherein 10 or more than 10 persons are normally working with power at, or 20 or more persons working without power at. Next definition is manufacturing process. So a manufacturing process is a process for making, altering, repairing, ornamenting, finishing, packing, oiling, washing, cleaning, breaking up, demolishing, or otherwise treating or adopting any article or substance with a view to its use, sale, transport, delivery, disposal, etc. Now, next definition is adult. So, adult is a person who has completed 18 years of age is called adult, and a child is one who has not completed 15 years of age. Adolescent is the person who has completed 15 years but has not completed 18 years of age. Next is worker. So any person employed directly or through any agency for any manufacturing process or for cleaning any part of machineries or premises or other identical work connected with manufacturing process is called worker. So these are important definitions which we need to which we keep in our mind. Other definitions are uh, uh, next is approval, licensing, and registration of factories. So what are the points which we need to keep in our mind while taking approval, licensing, and registration of factories? So this act specifies that before starting a factory, what necessary steps should be, or necessary steps should be followed. So it is necessary to take permission of the state government or of chief inspector for the site on which the factory is to be situated or for the construction or extension of a factory. Next is the plans and specifications have to be approved by the factory inspector. Another thing we need to keep in mind is the factory has to be registered and the license obtained after paying the necessary fees. The application for the permission should be sent to Chief Inspector. It should contain name and address of occupier and factory, nature of manufacturing process, nature of power to be used, nature of factory manager, number of workers required, etc. If after submitting the application to the state government or to the chief inspector, nothing is communicated to applicant within 3 months, the permission is deemed to have been granted. If a state government or a chief inspector refuses to grant permission to use a particular site, the applicant may generally appeal to central government in this connection with 30 days from the date of refusal. So these are few points we need to keep in our mind. The next section will be taken in next lecture. Thank you for watching.